Then people ask, what do you have so much against the Zionists? Well, let's see what we have about them. We've talked about this in the past. We have some new ones that I mentioned in Hebrew, and people asked me to mention it in English. A Sofer Chaim Weizman, who was one of the bigwigs in Zionism, lived from 1898 to 1973, says that אין הציונות והיהדות דברי אחד, אלא שני דברים השונים זה מזה. Zionism and Judaism are not one thing. In fact, they are two completely different things. In fact, they contradict each other. When a person cannot be a Jew, he becomes a Zionist. Meaning, when he doesn't want to keep Torah and mitzvot, what do? No, I'm a Zionist. I'm a Zionist supporter. Hence the reason, by the way, in small little soglayim, in parentheses, that's why there are many Christian Zionists. It's not because they love the Jews. It's because they like the Jews to be their customers for Christianity. They like to convert them and missionize against them. So they say, no, we're Zionists. We're Zionists. Yeah, we support Israel. Yeah, you're investing in Israel. It's marketing, so you convert all of them, chas v'shalom. That's what you're doing. So all of these people that work with the Christians, these so-called Orthodox rabbis, like Riskin that we mentioned on Sunday, and his students, Ephraim, and Mr. Robinson, and other organizations, CCJ, and all of these people that work with Christians like Mirvis de Rasha and Dweck, all of these people, Rabotai, these are 100% Erev Rav. There's no question about it. Why? You cannot work with the enemy and still be considered a friend. Like, yeah, what do you mean? But the Christians are nice to us. How are they nice to us? What, they stopped killing us in the streets for a little while? What are they nice to us about? So now instead of killing us in the streets, they're just killing our neshamot by converting 500,000 Jews in the last 20 years. It's actually better off they kill people than convert people. Which may be starting soon, unfortunately. So the point is, Rabotai, is that people have a mistaken understanding of what a friend really is. Why? Because they don't know what it means to be a Jew. They think that by being a Zionist, that makes you a Jew. Now, people also think that being a Zionist means that, you are, if you're not a Zionist, you're anti-Eretz Yisrael. This is wrong. Every Jew should be a supporter of Eretz Yisrael. There are Jews there. The most amount of Jews in the world that live in Eretz Yisrael. Everyone should be a supporter of Eretz Yisrael and the Jews that are there, including the secular ones, for the sake of them doing TeShuva. But to be a supporter of the government, the secular mentality, the lefty liberalism, the anti-Torah mentality, no, you pretty much have to be an anti-Torah to be a supporter of that. To be a religious Zionist is a little bit of an oxymoron. That's why even sometimes religious Zionists themselves do not know where to put themselves, because it's very confusing. Why? Because many of their heroes are the people we're going to talk about today. You see, these people are 100% worse than Hitler, with no exception. In fact, let's read more about them. Chaim Weizman told us that Zionism and Judaism are two different things, and he continues and he says, Zionism begins when Judaism is destroyed. הציונות מתחילה ממקום הריסת היהדות. So, anyone that thinks that the founders of Zionism were pro-Judaism is mistaken. Here we see from Chaim Weizman, the author, it was in Musaf Haaretz, published in Elul of 1943, Tavshin Chav Gimel. And he also finalizes this part. I'm not reading every word because it's too long. He says that make sure you understand and pay attention that Zionism is not a continuation of Judaism. It's not even a new version of it. It has nothing to do with it, and it's in essence something that's there to destroy Judaism. Now, Menachem Osiskin, one of, again, one of the big wigs in Zionism, one of the Roshim, one of the heads, in the beginning. He says, what's the difference between a korbanot b'gola leben a korbanot ba'aretz? What's the difference between Jews dying in the exile versus Jews dying in Israel? He says that the ones that are dying in outside, they're not really significant to us. They're not really important to us. If Jews die in Europe or they die in America or anywhere else, we don't really care so much about them. Because there was no significance to their life in the first place. There's no point to their life in the first place. But the ones that died in our country, in Eretz Yisrael, they're important to us. Meaning, if you didn't live in Eretz Yisrael, your life simply did not matter to one of the founders of Zionism. Written in a sefer called Shoah Mishamayim, Heavenly Holocaust. Another one, Yosef Chaim Berner, also in a sefer called Shoah Mishamayim. He was a author of Ish Ruach V'Yadit Tnuat. He was a Ish Ruach V'Yadit Tnuat Avodah. He was a inspiration and one of the friends of Zionism. Lived from 1881 to 1921. And this is his opinion about Jewish people. אופיינו הלאומי פסול מימות העולם. He says, so our the Jews in essence are insignificant in comparison to the rest of the world. What do you want from the anti-Semites? He's asking, what do you want from the anti-Semites? Why do you have something against them? Why don't you understand what's clearly understandable? The reason why they hate Jews is because Jews are filth. Jews are waste of life. Jews are disgusting. They're not even people. They're like injured dogs. But the Europeans that are choking them without any mercy, they're destroying something that's disgusting anyway. They should be respected for doing such a thing. Because us Jews were not, he's a Jew, he's not a Nazi. He acts like a Nazi, but he's not a Nazi. He says, because Einenu b'nei Adam b'chlal. He goes, we are not even people. We're not even people. Written in Shoah Mishamayim, page 79. What is he like? What is this filth of a human being? Yosef Chaim Berner, what is he like? He says that Yod'im mikol hagetaot, we are the filth of all of the ghettos, we are filth of the world, but me for myself, HaBRIT HaChadasha Sifrenui. My book is the New Testament. He says it's the bone of our bones, it's the blood, it's the flesh of our bodies. New Testament. Zionism. Makes fun of the way Jewish people look with their beards and their payas. Says that they're second-rate citizens with no merits whatsoever and no rights. They shouldn't have any rights. We go to his buddy, Yitzchak Greebaum. He was responsible for Ha'atzalah. And he was also the secretary in the government of Ben Gurion, when Ben Gurion was the prime minister. Lived from 1879 to 1970. It says, in 1943, when the Jews were starving to death in the ghettos of Europe, and a couple of thousand of them were being sent to the gas chambers on a daily basis, Yitzchak Greebaum, Yimach Shimo, says the following: ששאלו אותי, הלא תוכל לתת מכספי קרן היסוד להצלת יהודים בארצות הגולה? אמרתי לא, ואני אומר עוד פעם לא. צריך לעמוד בפני גל זה הדוחה את הפעולות הציונות לשורה השנייה. He says, when they asked me if I can use the money for our organization, Keren HaYesod, to save Jewish people from being killed, because you could have bought Jews, because the Nazis needed money, so they were willing to sell Jews. So can we use some money to save some Jews from being sent to the gas chambers? There was specific deals that were discussed. In one case, there was a deal with, I believe it was 2,600 or 2,900 Jews that were offered to them. Can we use it to save 2,600 Jews? He says no. And I say again no. We have to be strong that everything that we're doing is just for the sake of Zionism. That's going to bring our salvation, not these filthy animals like his buddy called them. Says, when they offer me to save Jews in Europe or to be given the land of Israel, I clearly will pick Israel. Meaning you'd rather have a piece of land than 6 million people. Showing you how much of a pro-Jew this person was. And if they were giving them, let's say, less Jews in Eretz Yisrael versus a lot more Jews outside, says less Jews in Eretz Yisrael. Why? Again, did not like Jewish people. Was an anti-Semite like the rest of them. This was also written in a הכבשנים המאשימים לראש משה שיינפלד, עמוד 62. Chaim Weizman, one of the most famous ones, one of the first president of Medinat Israel, lived from 1874 to 1952. When they told him that the war is broken out with Germany, he says this: תקוותם של 6 מיליון יהודים מרוכזת עליה. He says that the hope of 6 million Jews is going to be, the future of 6 million Jews that are based in Europe is going to be tragic. I prefer to save 2 million young ones and let the old ones just die and just wait for their end. They're avak adam, they're dust of man anyway. They're filthy. They have no worth in the world to begin with. I'd rather just save the young ones. The old ones just need to stand there and come to terms with the fact that they're not needed anymore. Said this in front of hundreds of Zionist leaders in the Zionist Congress of Tafresh Tzadik Zayin. And this is also written in a sefer called Ot Kin in page 105. Another one that recorded him in another situation when it was actually another event during the war on the 22nd of June, 1941. Told him that the radio just said that there is the war. The Germans just broke the barriers. He says, far people. Millions of them are going to simply have a tragic end, but in the end of it, we have to make sure that the future of the war will bring a lot of blessing to England. Millions of Jews are going to die. Yeah, it's not a big deal. But England hopefully has good respect from this one, though. England. Ben Gurion, perhaps one of the most, if not the most famous Zionist. He was the Prime Minister, Sarah Bitachon also, lived from 1886 to 1973. What did he think of Jewish people? The Jews in the exile, they're not, they're part of a people. They're just dust of men, filth, no right to speak, no education, no roots whatsoever. This dust of men with lack of manners, it's to destroy it is not an easy job. It's not an easy job. This he wrote in his own book, David Ben Gurion, Machshimo, in a book called Yechud V'Yehud. There was a chance to save 2,900 Jews from the actual Holocaust itself. A person by the name of Moshe Sherett asked the David Ben Gurion, who was the prime minister at the time, can we save these people? Should I meet with McDonald, this guy named McDonald that was brokering the deal? Ben Gurion says, no, עתידנו חשוב יותר מהצלת 2,900 יהודים. He says, no, our future is much more important than these 2,900 Jews. Meaning, who needs them? Also, he wrote it, Moshe Sherett wrote it in his own journal, dated November 18, 1939. His son of Herzl, Yimach Shimo, Hans, says, my father's plan was to bring the Jewish people completely under the faith of the Catholic Christians. I want to tell you that the people knew, and that my father did not give me a Brit Milah, the Brit of Avraham. But you all knew about this. Like, he publicized this. He killed himself in the end, and but he publicized it. He goes, not like the people didn't know, like he was practicing Christian in hiding. He says that Avi Tziva, he commended our educators to teach us how to pray Christian prayers every morning and every night. This he wrote in a sefer called Neguot Mina Aval, in page 69. When he was interviewed in his when his own journal, when Herzl's own journal was reviewed in the first Yoman in page 93, when he was talking about his own goal to find honest anti-Semites in order to destroy and take away all of the Jewish possessions. That's why people, when they find out that George Soros is one of the worst people on planet Earth, he's a Jew, and people are, well, I don't understand, how come there's Jews like this? No, there's been many of Jews like this that have existed, that are part of the Zionist movement, or part of the Enlightenment movement, or part of both. When you do not have Torah, you are worse than an animal, a vicious animal. That's just a reality. And that's also what George Soros himself did. He himself admits, there's an interview online, as you see the person himself admitting, that when he was a kid, to get himself out of the Holocaust. What did he do? He helped the guy. He helped the Nazi take all of the Jewish possessions. And he worked for him. All of the wealthy Jews, little George, Yimach Shemo v'Zichro, knew where they were, and he ratted, oh, this guy's rich. Okay, let's take his money. This guy also has some money. He's hiding it over here. Take his money, take his money. Take his money, kill him, make his boss rich, and himself in the process as well. Not every rich person should be admired, to say the least. He's also behind many of these protests and things of that nature, if people don't know that. It's not a conspiracy, it's true, he admits it. When Herzl was asked, he wrote in his journal, first section, page 14, when he was asked 2 years ago, what should I do in order to solve the Jewish problem? Meaning anti-Semitism. I went to the Catholic Church to seek for an answer. And I got a meeting with the heads of there, the Pope himself, and I told him that, and he agreed in essence, that the plan is, in order to eliminate anti-Semitism, I will start a movement that will bring all of the Jews to Christianity. Benjamin Zev Todo. Oh no, this is a Sefer, sorry. Herzl describes himself as a modern Jew with a attraction to Christianity. And I bless every Jew that has kids to convert their kids to Christianity. And he says, I have a son, and I would prefer that he converted to Christianity, but I would prefer to convert myself today to Christianity, and not tomorrow. But because of all of the political issues, I got to delay it a little bit. This is in a book called Herzl that was written by Amos Elon. So from here we see, Rabotai, that the pasuk that says "Me'arsayich u'me'arvaich b'mech yetzeu," your conquerors, your destroyers will come from within you, was literally HaKadosh Baruch Hu giving us clear instructions that if we do not comply with the rules of the Torah as a whole, we ourselves will become our biggest enemy. We always like to blame other people for anti-Semitism, other people for Jewish problems, but in reality, that's a misunderstanding of what anti-Semitism is. Yes, anti-Semitism is wrong, but you have to also understand who is causing the anti-Semitism. What the cause of anti-Semitism is our actions. When we go against Hashem, Hashem uses anti-Semitism as the stick in order to bring back his sheep home. Initially it's the staff. When the staff doesn't work, the stick follows.